So the next type of word problem with percentages is what I call the percentage out of problem. So here you'll be given a part and a total, and not a percentage. So in the problem there won't be a percentage given to you, it'll be some information. And really what we're trying to do here is make a fraction. And remember that percentages are kind of like fractions out of 100s. They're giving us an idea of the proportion of how much of one group of things there is. And so if I wanted to know, for instance, the percentage of 18 out of 20, so like 18 out of 20 lollies in my bag are red, what percentage is that? First thing I'm going to do is write a fraction for part over total. 18 here is the part, 18 red lollies out of a total of 20, so 18 over 20. And then from there, you just need to make sure you divide top by bottom because that's a fraction. So if you put that into your calculator, you get 0.9. And here's the next step. And think about doing it in your head. 0.9 is the decimal, but we want a percentage. So remind yourself again, how do you convert from decimal to percentage? And in this case, we times by 100, or we move the decimal spot 2 spots over. So that's equal to 90%. So if 18 of my lollies are red out of a total of 20, that means 90% of the lollies are red. So a large portion of the lollies in the bag are going to be red. And if you need to, again, you can use your calculator to say 18 divided by 20 and then times by 100. But it's a good idea to keep refreshing the idea of converting decimal to percent in your head. Let's look at the next example. 32 out of 100. So here 32 is my part, and 100 is my total. Because I'm looking out of the total always, so out of is always the total, and that's always going to go on bottom, so your fraction should always be part over the total. So 32 over 100. And you can put this one in your calculator, or you might notice since I'm dividing by 100, I'm just going to move the decimal spot 2 over. So here it's going to be 0.32. And when I convert it to decimal, I just convert it to percentage. That decimal moves back 2 spots again. So it becomes 32%. And that's kind of a funny example, but if you think about it, remember that percentages are out of 100. So if 32 out of 100 in this example, or what I'm looking for, that's 32%, because 32% literally means 32 out of 100. So that means the exact same thing, 32% or 32 out of 100. Okay. Again, most of these come up as word problems for us. So there are 14 girls in a class of 24 students. So this is a part, and the students are the total. I'm going to assume that there's girls and boys. What percentage of the students are girls? First question. And what percentage of the students are boys? Second question. So here I have to work it out 2 times. So percentage of girls, what are the part of girls here? I have 14 girls out of 24. And for the percentage of boys, writing it as a fraction first, well, if 14 of the 24 are girls, 24 minus 14 is going to get us 10. That means 10 out of the 24. The other half are boys. So, if I put these into our calculator, so with the calculator, for 14 out of 24, that is slightly more than half. So we might expect to get a number bigger than 50, and we get 58, 0.58333 reoccurring. And so I might round that, after I convert it to decimal, by moving 2 spots, to 58.3%, roughly. And for boys, 10 divided by 24, slightly less than half of 12, so I get 0.41666 reoccurring. And in this case, I'll move my decimal 2 spots to get to the percentage again. I get 41.6%, roughly. And I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that or not, but the 33333 reoccurring. That's kind of like a 1/3. So you could write that as 58 1/3 of a percent. And the 66666 type of reoccurring, that's actually 2/3. So that's 41 2/3 of a percent. And I'm just writing it out exactly here so that we can look at this. What happens if I add up 51 and 48 and then 1/3 and 1/2? What happens if I add those two numbers together? So 58 and 1/3 plus 41 and 2/3. Well, 1/3 and 2/3 becomes a whole, so I'm going to convert this to a 42, and that makes 42 plus 58, which gives us 100%. And that's how it should work out, because my class here is made up of only boys and girls. So the percentage of boys plus the percentage of girls should be the total, which is 100%. So just something to keep in the back of your head. So be careful in these problems. Sometimes they're quite tricky. For instance, I might have asked, there are 14 girls in a class of 24 students, and then only asked what percentage of students are boys. So you have to notice immediately that they gave me information about girls, not boys, and work out the number of boys. So read the questions carefully, and again, it's part over total. We divide part by total, and then convert it to a decimal by timesing by 100. Again, you can do that in your calculator, but I encourage you guys to do that part in your head as well, including doing the division if you want by longhand in your head, or on a bit of scratch paper.